Hey everybody, welcome to the cyberspace. Today we have a great video, cool content coming to you. We're going to be talking about what color would Grogu or Baby Yoda's lightsaber be. As many of you know, lightsaber colors aren't just for looks. It's not just to kind of match what outfit the Jedi or the Sith is wearing that day. It's a lot deeper than that. Lightsaber colors kind of go with the personality and the connection that the user has to the Force. So we're going to be breaking down Grogu, his personality, and matching that with the color lightsaber that he will likely get in the future. So be careful because we're going to spoil a little bit. If you haven't watched the Book of Boba Fett yet, there are some slight spoilers that we're going to be talking about in our analysis today. But so just keep that in mind, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. Really quickly, 2-second plug. If you haven't yet subscribed to the cyberspace, I encourage you to do so because we've got some really cool content coming your way. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into the video talking about what color would Grogu's lightsaber be. Now, before we kind of talk about the theory about which color would fit him and fit his personality and fit the future of the character, we're going to talk about what different lightsaber colors mean. Starting off with the most well-known color of lightsaber, the first one that we ever saw in any of the movies, blue. So the blue lightsaber, right here with this article that I've got pulled up, it's Jedi Guardians who fight for the light side and are skilled lightsaber warriors. So it's a lot more about combat with the blue lightsaber. So maybe it's Jedi that kind of want to fight first, ask questions later. That might be a good way to kind of describe this. Some of the characters, really popular characters from the movies that we've seen that have wielded a blue lightsaber are Obi-Wan Kenobi is probably the biggest one. Luke Skywalker has a blue lightsaber initially, and Anakin Skywalker is also a really popular one, especially in the prequels with the blue lightsaber. So, the mood, this article kind of talks about the mood that the lightsaber has. This would be justice and protection is kind of what the blue lightsaber is all about. Moving on to the next one, another very well-known color of lightsaber, green. Now, green lightsabers indicate that the Force user is less about kind of the aggressive approach. It's more about negotiation, mediation. You could even throw in meditation there. It's more of a peaceful approach to the Force and to conflict. Peace through the Force when necessary is kind of what this article says. So Jedi counselors who prefer negotiation and mediation over combat. So who are some very popular users of the Force Jedi that had green lightsabers? Well, of course, you have Yoda. Luke Skywalker ends up having a green lightsaber, and Qui-Gon Jinn from the prequels is another very popular one. So you can kind of tell that their personalities and their characters are very different from the Obi-Wans and the and the Anakin Skywalkers of the Star Wars universe. Okay, jumping on to the next one, let's talk about the red lightsaber. This is very interesting, very different. So this is what the Sith use, or Jedi that have gone rogue or go bad. Red lightsabers indicate evil, indicate using the dark side of the Force. It's very prideful, self-obsessed. Actually, I have done some research into this, and there might be some conflicting results, but I'm pretty sure that red lightsabers have to be corrupted in some way, so there has to be evil deeds that are done with the lightsabers, and it actually converts the crystals that power the lightsaber to that red hue. So, for example, Anakin, he went through in Order 66 and killed a lot of young Jedi. Bad news. You have Kylo Ren, who did a very similar thing, has that red lightsaber as well. So Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, these are all very popular characters in the Star Wars cinematic industry that do have the red the red lightsaber. Jumping on to probably one of my favorites is the purple lightsaber. So a lot of what the color is kind of tells, you can kind of get an idea of what it is. So purple, for example, is the mix of blue and red, which is exactly what it is. So Mace Windu is the most popular character, really one of the only characters that we know that had a purple lightsaber. Samuel L. Jackson, I think, requested it when he was being casted. He wanted to really stand out in the crowd. But that purple lightsaber is the mix of blue and the mix of with red. So it's kind of the combat specifically is a mix with kind of using the dark side and light side of the Force together into one, kind of using the benefits and avoiding the cons, but the pros of both, kind of finding that middle ground. And it's a very aggressive, kind of powerful lightsaber and way of combat. So what this says is moral ambiguity, Jedi who use both light and dark side techniques with an aggressive style. So yeah, that's the purple one. And those are the main ones. Those are like the canonized colors of lightsabers. And like I said, in just a minute, we'll be talking about these ones and the few more that I'm going to mention and how they're going to relate to Grogu and his future with lightsabers, because he's definitely going to get one. They're foreshadowing it like crazy, but what one is he going to get? So let's jump into some more obscure lightsaber colors. So you have yellow. Yellow is super interesting. The Jedi Sentinels who seek to destroy the dark side, they have yellow lightsabers. It's not a very common one. You do see, though, Rey at the very end of the 9th film, she does pull out a yellow lightsaber. And there's some controversy. Some people think it's orange. It looked orange to me, to be honest, but it has been confirmed to be a yellow lightsaber. They say it's highly skilled fighters that use them, and it's a very rare color. Moving on to orange. Orange is another one that's like kind of canon, kind of not. It indicates physical strength. And again, it's very, very rare for an orange lightsaber to be in any sort of Jedi usage. It's not a common color, but it does seem to correlate with extreme strength. So the character that is cited here is Lobaka, who was a Wookiee Jedi back in the day who had an orange lightsaber. Moving on to another one of my favorites, and that would be the white lightsaber. Now, the white lightsaber you would recognize in Mandalorian Season 2 and some of the other Star Wars TV shows with Ahsoka Tano. Now, she has 2 white lightsabers, and some people say that they're Sith lightsabers that have been purified from that evilness that they had, and that makes it white. You will also notice that Ahsoka Tano is not on the Jedi bandwagon anymore. She's kind of on her own independent Force journey. She's kind of in that middle ground. Independence is a big thing. What else does it say here? Calm and clear, used by those who remain calm and focused on the living Force. So it's more about the Force and less about kind of that community that the Jedi and the Sith have. So that one's interesting. We'll talk a lot about that with Grogu in a second. And then the last one we're going to talk about here is black. So that black lightsaber, the Darksaber, we have seen a ton in the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian. I mean, what a cool lightsaber. It's actually known as being the most powerful lightsaber. Originally used by one of the Mandalorian, who was a Mandalorian Jedi. Very cool, a lot of cool history with the Darksaber, and a lot to come with the Darksaber coming soon. So very exciting. That one here, it says that it's used by kind of self-obsessed users. I don't know if that's quite true anymore with the way that the canon is going, with kind of the doctrine behind it. What we do know from the Mandalorian is that you get a claim to the Darksaber if you best the user in combat, then it's yours. So interesting. It is a harder lightsaber to wield, as we've seen the Mandalorian hasn't quite figured out how to wield it yet, but very cool. We'll get into that in a second. So let's break down some theories here of which color lightsaber out of the ones we've mentioned Grogu is likely going to have. Now, there's some really cool theories here. I talked about this earlier with Sean today. We kind of mapped out this video what we were going to talk about, and he had a cool theory that Grogu might actually get the Darksaber at some point. Now, I think this is a cool theory. Is it likely? Sure, I suppose it's somewhat likely. It's a lightsaber that we've seen him be around. He's had a lot of proximity to it. The reason that I think that this might not be the case is because in order for him to have a claim to the Darksaber, he would have to beat the Mandalorian in combat somehow. Or maybe he just outlives him, because we know that the Mandalorian, he isn't going to have that long of a lifespan compared to Grogu, who's going to live over 900 years. So maybe he just gets it, he inherits it. I guess there's potential there. But what does make this theory kind of make sense is that, again, here's a spoiler, Book of Boba Fett, Grogu chose not to go the Jedi route, got the Mandalorian chainmail. He's a Mandalorian foundling now. So there could be that, right? Maybe they're kind of setting up for the future. He will be the Mandalore, the ruler of the planet. I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity there, and he's got time in terms of lifespan for that to kind of settle. So first theory, Grogu gets the Darksaber, and that will be his lightsaber at some point in the future. Is it the most accurate theory? I'm not sure, but let's go on to another one. Green. I think this is a very likely scenario that Grogu will get a green lightsaber, specifically Yoda's lightsaber. Now, I know that in the Book of Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker's like, look, you have a choice. You take the chainmail, the Mandalorian chainmail, or Yoda's lightsaber, go the route of the Jedi, go the route of the Mandalorian. Jedi don't deal in absolutes. We know that from the other films. So I think it's weird that Luke kind of gave him this absolute choice. I think there could be a chance that that turns around in later seasons or in later movies or something where Grogu actually does get Yoda's lightsaber. I think it's possible. I think that it's also maybe not super probable. If it would have happened, I think it would have happened now. They wouldn't have given him that choice between it. He wouldn't have had to say no to it. So I think there's a chance, yes, he could have a green lightsaber and it could be Yoda's at some point. But I think it's unlikely because he already said no to it and chose a different route. I do think he will get a lightsaber at some point, and green really goes really good with Yoda and that species because of their green skin. But I'm not sure about that one really. Now, one that I think does make more sense, and this might be the most accurate theory that Sean and I came up with, is that Grogu will get a white lightsaber. And as we mentioned, the white lightsaber is kind of more for the independent Force user. They're not on the side of the Jedi, they're not on the side of the Sith. They're Force users. They can wield a lightsaber, they can utilize it, they can train and have it, but like Ahsoka Tano, they don't consider themselves on either side. They kind of have their own thing going on. That's what it seems like they're setting up for Grogu. Grogu chose not to go the Jedi route. He abandoned the Jedi temple and his training. He doesn't seem to be heading towards the Sith route. He seems to be heading his own direction. So I think there's a pretty dang good chance that we will see Grogu with a white lightsaber at some point. That's probably my top theory so far. Another theory that that we did come up with was Grogu would get a yellow lightsaber. Now this might be a little weird because they just did this, one could say an epic little last scene in Star Wars where Rey pulls out a yellow lightsaber. Would it be weird for them to do it again and go to this rare color of lightsaber with another character? It might be overused. They might not want to do that, but I could see that because it's rare. It's used with, like I said earlier, with extremely skilled fighters, and I think Grogu is going to be super powerful. I think he's going to be he's 50 years old, but he's still a baby. He's got, centuries to really get good at what he does with the Force and with his combat skills. So I think there's a possibility he could go the yellow route. Now, going again with that, slight possibility of a purple lightsaber. I mean, I would buy that toy. If there was a Grogu with a purple lightsaber toy, I would buy that. Maybe Disney wants to go that route. But I don't see Grogu being that aggressive type like Mace Windu. And kind of finding the in-between the Sith and the Jedi combat styles. I don't see that being the route. I also don't see him going rogue. But they have slightly foreshadowed that. Ahsoka Tano said that, she sensed fear in him like Anakin had. And Anakin's fear and kind of rebelliousness ended up making him turn into Darth Vader. And they've slightly foreshadowed that, in The Mandalorian Season 2. So could we see Grogu with a red lightsaber going all Sith on everybody? We could. I don't think they want to taint the character like that, though. I think they're setting this up as a very pure, very good character for the future. So that's actually going to wrap it up. Again, our top three theories are Grogu's going to get either a white lightsaber, a yellow lightsaber, or the Darksaber. I could see either three of those working out depending on the route that Disney wants to go with this, and I think any of them would be cool. Grogu with any lightsaber would be epic. He's already starting to kind of master the Force and get that down. All he needs is a lightsaber and some Mandalorian armor, and we've got one of the coolest characters in cinematic history. Again, my name is Landon. This is the cyberspace. Consider liking the video, commenting below what your predictions are of what color lightsaber Grogu would get based on his traits and personality in his future. And subscribe, of course, because that will help our channel grow a lot. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.